Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Animate in Blender Part 2. So I know it took me a while for me to release this because I've actually been busy with work and I had a lot of things to do. That is just the summary of everything that happened. So I've not had the time to I didn't have the time to edit the video. So we're going to dive into the part 2 of this video. So we're going to be looking at 12 principles of animation in this part, so it will help you for your own project. So the first on the list is anticipation. Anticipation is very important in animation because it brings or it builds the action. So for your character to look alive and not robotic, it needs anticipation. So I want the girl to wave. So for me to create that anticipation, I'm trying to bend her a bit, like to build up that energy she would use to stretch to wave. So the next on the list is wash and stretch. Like if you can watch it right now, you can see me trying to shape or reduce the size of the head. So I'm trying to add a little squash and stretch to it. This when you're doing squash and stretch, um it's advised to not overdo it because if you do, your character is going to look more cartoony than realistic. It dies if you're going for a realistic feel. So squash and stretch is very important when you're animating your character. Like even in real life, we squash and we stretch. Like for example, when you're jumping, if you're jumping from a high place, I mean from stairs or something, you see you kind of squat. So that is more like a squash and stretch in real life. So all those are dependent on the weight and center of gravity and stuff like that. So the next we're going to do is we're going to um give her the waving pose. So I want her to stand on her heels for this. So it's going to give it a more like a cute girl kind of pose, cute girl child kind of pose. So I'm posing her hands. So one thing you also need to know is when to switch from IK to FK. I use IK to pose characters. Then or then after that I always set the animation to FK because it gives that arc feeling. IK is more mainly like if you want a steady or a you want your character hands or legs stay in one spot while the body or any other part is moving. So that is when IK is important. But FK is important for when you're doing fighting. Like for example, you're trying to do a spin in the air or something like that. You can't use IK because IK won't give you a very smooth animation. It's not going to give that arc feeling. So that's it. So right now, I'll pose the character. I was meant to I actually wanted to speed this up by times 2, but if I do that, um, it's not we won't feel the timing, right? So that's why it's going to be this long. The video is about 21 minutes. So I just suggest you have the patience to watch it to the end. So one more thing I'm going to do is when she waves, I want her hair to tilt a bit, not too much. In animation, all those subtle little movements adds life to the characters. So if you overdo it, it's actually not going to look too nice. It's going to look more like it's going to look broken. So very little movements which most times, if you people won't notice, actually gives life to the character. And always have it in mind that when you're trying to animate a character, always put center of gravity at the back of your mind. That would enable you give the character a realistic pose. Center of gravity, for example, now she's on her toes and she's stretching one side. So um I had to space out her left hand so that it can give her balance. So that is me working on the center of gravity, because the center of gravity right now is not at the center, because a center of her body, because she is more like um one-sided. So that's her hand being spaced out a bit gave made her balanced, so that she can actually stand in that position. You can also try it out when, like, you can try out your poses naturally when you're trying to pose your character. I'd always say use references. References would give you references would make it easier for you to pose your characters, and it won't look impossible for a human being to stay in that pose. So that's why references are very important. You can use yourself as reference, you can find it on the internet, but I normally use myself as reference, because finding it on the internet is, I don't really get what I'm looking for. I'm not a great actor, but I'm trying. Yeah, most times um when I take videos of myself, I'll be like, wow, I look so stupid. But that's things you gotta do for animation, right? So so the character is starting to come alive. Um, I've made most of the poses, so right now it's time to adjust the timing. So this video was pre-recorded because talking and animating at the same time was going to be a lot slower. So I decided to record it, then add commentary to it. So at this point, I'm trying to look at the whole timing and stuff like that. The wave was kind of a little bit too fast. So this is just me going back and forth, checking, adjusting, spacing it out. Timing is very important in animation because it determines, timing deals with weight, it deals with um uh, um actions. It determines whether the action is heavy or light. So timing has a lot of uses. So if your timing is not perfect, your animation um will look uh unrealistic. Like for example, if you're trying to animate a jump animation and your timing is way too spaced, like from one keyframe to another keyframe, the spacing is too much. It's going to be more like your character is floating on the air. I don't know if you got what I mean. Like it's not going to be more of a jump. It's going to be more of a float, like you're on the moon or on Mars or something. So timing is very important. You have to go back and forth with your animation and know if the timing is right. So the method I use to animate this character is straight ahead. So it's more like I'm just saying where it leads me to. I didn't really plan it. More like I'm going with the flow. This is not you don't use this method for all kinds of animations, especially if you're doing a fight scene, because you need to first of all get the key poses. And one more thing is I didn't really do blocking in this animation, and I just I didn't block it out. That is, I didn't block it out in any way, and I didn't even tweak the animation, like I didn't tweak the graph editor in any way also, because I was just okay with it. And since this is just more like a beginner's tutorial, I was like, why go into graph editor when it's a beginner's tutorial? It's going to get confusing. So it's more like I just wanted to keep it simple. But when we go into the intermediate level, we are going to look at we're going to look at a lot of we're going to look at the graph editor, handle types, and a lot of things. So that will be able to make you tweak your animation without always keyframing it, because you don't always need to keyframe your animations to give you that kind of motion you want. When I started animating, that was back then in 2022, right? Yeah. There's on my Instagram page, there's a monster animation I did. It was actually pretty nice for a first try. Like, I'm actually really impressed because I knew nothing about animation at the moment, and it was it's just more like I just went with the flow, and the monster didn't even have any legs. So I was just using my imaginations to make it come to life without any plan and anything. I actually wanted to do it for Halloween. I don't know. I'm always I love making monsters. Like, I did a Halloween video again last year, and I think I'll do another one this year also. So I keyframed every single thing in that animation. Like, when the hands or the fingers are not where I want them to be, I'll go I go to the center of it. Can be one frame, second frame, or no, rather one frame, frame one, frame three. I'll go to frame two to put another keyframe. Meanwhile, I can just edit it with the graph editor. So I didn't really know much about um animation at the moment. I'm going to put the video here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's actually quite um I'm actually impressed with that. So animation is more like it's something you need to have patience with, tweaking, going back and forth. And also, most time, what I do, I just copy poses and paste them so that I can, instead of going back to poses, I can, like, for example, if you're trying to loop your character, you don't need to always pose it. You can just copy your keyframes and move them to wherever you want them to be. So right now, as you can see, the character is the animation is actually looking nice, and yeah. So there are a lot of things to still do. I had to adjust some of the keyframes so that it won't look too slow. So like from her going from the waving to the rest mode, it was at 20 frames, but I have to reduce it to right to that 10 frames. I reduce it to 20 then. So it's just more of tweaking. You just need to tweak to you feel you're okay, you're good, like you're feeling the animation. And one thing is always use references. Or you can use a simple reference. You can stand up, you can do the action, check what part of your body moves and stuff like that. So you can actually get a very nice animation. Like this animation and the previous one I posted before, I said it are different. If you can notice, if you go back to watch the other video, I'll post the final video at the end of this tutorial. You see that in this one, her head is shaking, her hand, the hand she used for balance also is shaking. But in the previous one, this part of the body are not shaking. So when I was doing tutorial, I felt something was missing. So I made that little adjustment, and I'm actually good with how it came out. Also one more thing to have at the back of your mind is when you're animating a character, always make sure the pose look good in every angle, because let's say you animate a character to look good in this angle, and during the animation you decide to, oh, I need to change the camera angle. Like you're not good, you're not okay with how the character looks from that angle, and you want to change it, then you might end up doing the whole work all over again. So making the character look good in every angle is helpful, because you can get different shots, and you still be satisfied with the results. So have it in mind to make the character look good in every angle. And another piece of advice is always keep the 12 principles of animation at the back of your mind. Very important for your characters to not look robotic. The 12 principles of animation are, they are principles that animators back then in the 90s and 80s they use, and they made the characters look alive. So you need to have that at the back of your mind also. So that's it. And also when to switch from IK to FK. Very important. You need to know when to switch from IK to FK, because it helps from preventing your character from, for example, the feet from sliding and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is facial expressions. So I want her to smile when she's waving. So I'm trying to get the exact frame where she like the anticipation pose, so that I can know where to keyframe her lips to smile. So she's going to smile when she starts waving. Then, when she's about to stop waving, also, the smile is going to end, so that it can perfectly loop with the first keyframe. So this is me keyframing. It's just a very simple was a very simple pose. Nothing too stress about it. So yeah, this is the end of the part two, and I hope to see you in the next one. So take care. This is the final result. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Turn on the bell so that you'll be notified when I start the intermediate class. Thank you very much and have a nice day.